Hey everyone, today we are going to build an HR tool for basically for recruitment. And as always, we are going to start using AI, and afterwards we are just going to do a few adjustments, changing colors, adding stuff that we wish to have on our tool. And that's basically it, correct, Cruz?
Yeah, so the idea here is to build a recruiting tool. So there's going to be some interesting things regarding to connected data. So we're going to give a few pointers on how to, for example, create a form that has only active job openings. So that's the basic idea, but it's going to be very simple in terms of building. Should we get started?
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea here, like I said, is to build a recruiting tool. So I think that the most common way to do this is by creating a Kanban board. So you see all of the applicants and their data. You have stages, so you can have like a triage stage. You can have like an interview stage, and those sorts of like statuses. And the idea here is that we're going to have a public form in which applicants can submit their applications. Afterwards, you are going to see this in the Kanban board, and then later you can also have like a table of job openings with descriptions and such, and you can toggle between job openings being active or inactive. So that's the general idea, and then we can keep like making small enhancements as we go, right? So,
Cruz, Demon said hi to you.
hey Damon. Nice. So the idea here is going to be very simple. Like always, we always recommend that you start building by using the AI to give you a first version. Of course, you could do this like from the ground up. You don't need the AI to build. You could create the tables from scratch. You could create the apps from scratch, but the AI gives you a first version of the app like very fast, so there's no reason not to use it. Okay, so the idea here, I'm going to click here on create new tools, and this is going to summon this panel in which I can ask for the AI to build processes for me, build apps for me. So all I have to do here is describe the process, the app that I want. I could provide like flowcharts, images, spreadsheets, anything that I think would be useful for the AI to like review before building the process. But in this case, I'm just going to describe it like with a little bit of information. So what I'm going to do here is tell it to create a recruiting app with a Kanban board that has the stages triage, interview, proposal, hired, and archived. We're also going to want a separate a form in a separate tab and a dashboard in a separate tab as well. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just describing the process that I want. And I'm going to finish this by asking the AI to use a side menu for navigation. This is just a matter of preference. There are many types of menus that you could use in Jestor. You could use a top menu, a bottom bar, which is basically that navigation menu that people are used to in mobile interfaces. I like to ask for a side menu. I think that navigation is a little bit easier with the side menu. That's just my preference. You could toy around with the components that we have. You can change that later. But for this app, we're going to use the side menu. Okay, so you guys can see that the AI already built the app, right? So, like I said before, we could use the manual tools, right? We could create the tables from scratch. We could create the Kanban board for scratch, but it's way faster to use the AI. So like 10 seconds, it already created all that I asked of it. So you guys can see that it created the side menu that I asked. It created this title bar here that has the button to add a candidate. There's the Kanban board, and you guys can see that it has the stages that I asked for, and also it has the application form and the dashboard that I asked for. I didn't specify to the AI what sort of information should be on this dashboard, so it just built like whatever it came to mind. We're going to change this later. If we wanted to have some more specific components from the get go, I could have asked for it on that creation panel, but it doesn't matter right now. So all we're going to do here is start customizing this. All right. So one thing that I'm going to do just for ease of navigation is that I'm going to bring the applications database, the table, to this menu, so it's a little bit easier to navigate. But before we do that, let's open the card on the Kanban board, and we're going to see that the information that the AI put in this process, in this app, is name of the applicant. You have the email, we have the phone number, the stage, the resume. It's just an attachment field, a files field, and the date of the application. Okay. So, like I said beforehand, we can create a table for job openings that we're going to use in the form, so the person can apply to a specific job opening, and that's going to be dynamic, right? If I close a job opening on the table, if I say it's inactive, it's not going to be on the form anymore. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. But to do that, I'm going to have to create a table for the job openings themselves. So what I'm going to do here is use the action bar, and I'm going to select create a new blank table, and I'm going to go with job openings. So that's the name of my new table. Okay, so it created the database, it created the table, it has a title field, so that's going to be the name of the title of the job, right? But one thing that I'm going to do as well here is create a single option field, which is basically a drop-down menu, right? For the, let's call this team, and we're going to categorize the job openings by specific teams. So we have finance, we can have sales, and we can have tech. We can also change the colors, right? It creates at random, so I'm just going to select some different colors here. And blue here. I think finance, it's better if it's green. Okay, so we're going to create this. And one other thing.
Could do, but in this case, it's better to just build. But we can just build it to show how does building works as well. Is to use AI to also build this tool. So this table, we could ask for job openings and then only use the part that we wish to use on our main template as well. But building sometimes is even faster. So
yeah, exactly. If I were to be extremely efficient, I would have asked this during the first part where I asked for the AI to build stuff. So it would have already created it. But I'm doing this manually just to show you guys how this works. So I have the job openings, I have the title, I have the team, and I'm going to create a new field for status. So a job opening can be active and inactive. And we're going to give, okay. So I'm just going to go and fill this up with some examples. So for finance, we have analyst. for sales, we have like sales people one. And for tech, we have senior developer, for example. So I'm going to go with active, inactive, and active here, so you guys can see that the sales position is inactive right now. So this is going to be important for later, right? So just keep this in mind. So what I'm going to do is go back to the app that the AI built. So it already put everything it created in this folder. So every time you ask the AI to build something, it's going to pack everything, all the apps, all the tables inside uh, the last folder here. So you guys can see that it's AI recruiting app. And I'm going to go to the Kanban board. So one thing that I'm going to do now is just add the databases here. So it's candidates and job openings. And one thing that I can do here as well, you guys can see that I have everything here in the menu, but there's no like hierarchy, right? So one thing that I can do is add folders. So I'm going to go and put all of the app pages, the interfaces on this folder called apps. And I'm going to create a new folder called databases and put them all in this folder as well. So you guys can see that now it's a collapsible menu, so it's a little bit easier to work with. And I'm going to save. Before I save, actually, we're going to change the colors. So by default, right now, currently, Jestor creates everything in dark mode. But a lot of our users prefer light mode. So we just like to make it clear that you can select the colors, right? So the menu here, I'm going to go with all white, right? And I'm going to call this recruiting. So you guys can see that up top, it already changed. I'm going to do the same thing with this title bar here. It's going to be white and a dark blue for the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to customize the page itself, which is this dark gray. And I'm going to go with a very light gray as well. And I'm going to disable scrolling, so the page has a fixed length, right? It's going to be just the size of the screen. And now I can resize the Kanban board to get all of the page, basically. So this is the new color of the app. One thing that I forgot to do is change the color of the Kanban board, the cards themselves. So I'm going to change this as well. And the cards are going to be white.
And now we have a new feature where you can change the color of your main bar and add your logo as well, for those that really want to make basically a white label app. Even if it's for internal use, you can personalize with your own branding.
Exactly. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, it's this part here up top. You can customize the color and the logo here as well. So I changed the size of the cards. I want small cards here. And one thing that I'm going to do, I don't want to be able to create cards in specific stages. So I'm going to disable this add card to specific stages here. Cool. There you go. So this is a first version of the Kanban board, right? So I'm going to keep making changes to it. But one thing that I just want to start doing is for this example cards, I'm going to open one. And you guys can see that we have this information. And we probably want more information here, right? So we want more things to the process. So we want interview dates. We want what job opening this candidate applied for. So we can start building the fields of information, right? And the way we do this is by going to the table. So we're going to go to the applications. It's called candidates here. I didn't like the name that the AI gave it, so I'm going to call applications. So we have the name of the candidate, we have the email, we have the phone number. But one thing that I want is which job opening they apply to. So we're going to do this by adding a connection field. So I'm going to click here on this plus icon. It's going to bring the panel of possible fields, and I'm going to use connected records. And this is going to allow me to select a record from a different table, in this case, job openings, right? So I'm going to call this job opening. I'm going to select the table job openings. So this is the table that I'm connecting to, right? And I'm going to add one filter here. I only want to be able to select job openings that are active. So I'm going to add a field for status is active. And also we can customize icons and colors for the connections here. So I'm just going to use this default dark blue. And for like the icon, I'm going to use a sheet of paper here. So this makes sense for this case. Cool. So now you guys can see that if I try to create a new application, I can only select analyst and senior developer. And the reason for that is because the sales position is already inactive. So it's being filtered here. Just so you guys can see, it's inactive. If I switch this back to active, when I go to applications, if I try to add a new application, it brought back salespeople here. So I'm going to deactivate that again. But one thing that I want to do as well is, you guys saw that I created a field for team, right? So there's the tech job openings, there are sales job openings, there are finance job openings. And to make things easier for the applicants, I want them to select the team that they want to work with. And this is going to bring only the job openings for that team. So this is the reason that I created this field for. So what I'm going to do here is go back to applications. I'm going to create a field that is basically a mirror of the field in the other table. So we're going to do the same thing: finance, sales, and tech. I'm going to give them the same color. It won't matter. It could be different colors here. It doesn't have to be the same colors that you used before, but it just makes sense to use the same colors here. So now we have the same options here. So we're going to go back to this field. We're going to edit it. And we already have a filter here. If I click here on filters and conditions, I can only select job openings that are active, but I'm going to add a different rule here. So I'm going to click on add rule, and I'm going to do this one. I only want to be able to select job openings which have team is the same as, and I'm going to click on this use form value. And what this is going to do is that I'm going to use a value from one of the fields that I'm selecting here in applications, right? So what I'm going to do here is that I can only select job openings whose team is the same as the team of the application. So I'm going to click save here. And now if I go here, you can see that now I cannot select a job opening because I haven't selected a team yet. So what I'm going to do here is select finance, and now I only have finance job openings here. So if I do the same thing for tech, it brought the tech job openings. And if I go with sales, it's not going to have any option here because we don't have any sales job openings which are active right now. Okay, cool. So we're going to add some different fields here, just for having some examples before we start editing the form of the application. So the first thing here that we're going to do is, we already have a space for the resume here. It's an attachment. We could use AI to read the resume and fill out other fields like job history or education or email and phone number if they're already on the resume. So we could do that. If we have time for it, we can add this as well. But what we're going to do here is, basically we're going to create fields for education, so people can type in if they went to college, which college they went for, and so on. We're going to go with job history. And we're going to use rich text for that because this is a text that allows me to format. We can create bullet points. We can go with bold, italics, and such. So this is all the information that I want the applicant to put in. But what we're also going to add here is the information that we want for this process, for the rest of the Kanban board, right? So one thing that I can do here is use a date field for interview date. And also, just let me go back. I want a date and time here because interviews also have a time as well. So we're going to go with date and time field. One thing that I could do here for the recruiter is add, for example, a to-do field. So here it is. And we're going to do this to provide some specific questions to kind of give a rating score to the applicant. So, for example, fit. We're going to create a to-do field with some specific questions. So, fits company's culture, has relevant experience, and let's see a different question here. Has compatible seniority. Okay, so these are going to be the standard questions for the recruiter to go through in an applicant's card in the Kanban board, right? So we could keep adding more fields here. So the idea here, you guys could go to the fields panel and see all of the things that we have here. But I'm not necessarily going to go through all the fields. We could have more things for the process. But one thing that I'm going to do here is create a chat field because I want to see if I have any comments on the card in the Kanban board. So this is a mirror of the chat feature, of the comments feature, right? And I'm also going to create the same thing for tasks.
One thing that people do sometimes if they want to do like a really scientific way to select people to hire is to have a formula or to add weights to the responses that the applicant have, and then you can create like a score. Like this guy is a 600 out of 1,000 or something, and it's one way to prioritize or to automate the process as well.
Yeah, you could do that. The version that I did here is with the fit, like the fitness field. So the recruiter can go with, okay, it fits company culture, it has relevant experience, but it doesn't have compatible seniority. So it kind of like it has a score of 67%, right? We could have more questions here, but you could also do like Banak said, you could have different questions with like different weights and then calculate a score based on that. We're not going to go into detail for this application here, but you could also do that as well. So we're just going to create one last field here, which is interview notes, and it's also going to be rich text. Okay, so these are all the fields that I'm going to create. You could do more, but for now, just for this live stream, we're going to keep it simple. Okay, so let's go back to the Kanban board. And one thing, if I go back to using mode, if I click here, you guys can see that it has this standard panel, standard window opened. It has 4 panels: chat, tasks, SLA. It has this standard form for editing information here. So one thing that we're going to do here is we're going to customize all of this, right? We're going to customize these panels, and we're going to customize this form here as well, right? So how do we do that? We go back to the table of applications, and we activate building mode, and we click here on forms, right? So click here on forms, and we're going to edit the update form. Just so you guys know, creation form is for when I click here on new row, it's this form. And update form is for when I open a record. So if I click here and open this record, this is the update form, right? So we're going to edit that as well. So we're going to use a custom form. Down here, we can select, we can toggle the tools that we want to be able to use in this process. So I want to use the chat, I want to use the tasks, I want to use SLA. I may want to use email. We're not going to activate for this process, but we could. We're not going to use connected records, record history, records data. So we're going to close these ones. And one thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a wider form. So this is the window style. So if I open this record, we have the center window. We can select triple window, quadruple window. We could have just a side panel, so you can select the way that you're going to present this information. I'm going to go with wider form, and I'm going to click here to customize the form. So for the title, I'm going to get the name of the applicant. And the title of the form is basically this part up here, right? So what I want to do is pull the name of the candidate up here. So this is why I selected record label as title. I'm not going to put in any description here. And down here are the fields that I want to be able to see when I open the card, right? So I want to be able to see the name, email, phone. So almost all of the information here I am going to use. I'm just going to remove the chat and tasks because we're going to see this through the panel. And we can start rearranging the fields and adding blocks. What are form blocks? Form blocks are things that you can put in the form to customize the appearance or the functionalities, and they're not fields of information, but they affect the way that you're going to interact with this information. So just to give an example here, I'm going to use an inline block to go with job opening and team right next to each other. Basically, they're going to be in the same line. This is why this block is called inline. I'm just going to save so you guys can see what this means. I'm going to keep editing there, but now you guys can see that team and job opening are right next to each other. This is a little bit more intuitive for the applicant, right? And for usage of the recruiter as well. So let's keep editing this form. I'm going to edit. So I'm going to add a section because I think it looks a little bit cleaner. I'm going to go with main info. So this is the information for the applicant. and basically I just sandwich the information here, right? Um, so name, email, phone, email and phone probably should be right next to each other as well, right? So we're going to go with inline again, and we're going to go up there, and we're basically arranging things right now, right? So inline and phone. Stage is going to be down to the bottom. There you go. And I'm going to create a new section for uh, recruiting and interview. So we have the interview date. First, we have the fitness assessment, right? We have the interview date, we have the interview notes, and the stage is going to be down here. Here in this form settings, you can also change the appearance and some settings of the fields themselves. So for example, the stage, which is a single option field, I'm going to change this to a button-like field. You guys are going to see what I mean by that in a second. And I also think that it may be interesting to do education and job history right next to each other. Maybe it will look bad. If it looks bad, I will remove this later, but I think it may be interesting. Okay, we could create conditionals. Conditionals are basically, we could set up so some fields only appear in certain stages or only appear if one previous field was already filled. For example, we're not going to use this right now. We're going to disable responses. I don't want a copy every time I save the record. But I think that's it. All I have to do now is customize the colors. So for background color, it's going to be blue. For the bottom, it's going to be this dark blue. There you go. I customizing the colors, and I'm going to save. And now if I open a record, I put name, email, and phone right next to each other, but I think it looks okay. I think it looks nice. So we have the resume down here, apply date, team, job opening. So, okay, this section looks nice, and this part looks nice as
One
well.
thing that you could do as well, if you want to add the attachment vision field instead of a normal attachment field, you could just read all the resume and add as a text or any other format that makes it easier, or maybe even a summary or something related to your CV instead of just like having the resume there just as a copy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned before, you could have the vision field, which is basically a field that we use AI to read a document or a series of documents. And then the applicant would only have to provide the resume, and then name, email, phone, education, and job history would be automatically filled. We could do this later. We're just going to finish setting this up. But I think this record already looks nice. For this process, I think that the wide form is a little bit better because there's a lot of information, right? So if you go back to the Kanban board, you can see that it's already reflecting the form that we built, right? Because it's pulling the form from um, the table itself, right? So one last thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to provide some dummy information here, right? Okay, let's save. And now I'm going to click on build. I'm going to edit the Kanban, and I'm going to customize the cover of the card, right? So what fields of information are going to appear here? Because you might have noticed that we have here interview, but we already know that this is the interview stage, right? So I don't need this information. But one information that I might want here is uh, team, and job opening. So now I can see that Jane is applying for a finance position in the position of analyst, right? And also we're going to add the chat and tasks. There you go. Information here. So we can see if there are any comments to this card or tasks. So just to show you guys what I mean, I'm going to add a comment here. Jane looks promising. And I'm also going to create a task. So the task is to read LinkedIn profile. One thing that I could have done is create a LinkedIn field and a button to go to LinkedIn. We might do this later. So I'm going to create this to me. I'm going to create this task for Friday, and I'm going to create. So now we have a task for this application, and we also have comments here for this application. So now you can see that this is reflecting on the card, on the cover of the card. I can see here that I have one comment, and I can see that I have one task which I haven't done yet. Okay, so a couple of things that I'm going to do before editing the form is adding filters to this Kanban board and editing the icon here in the menu. Okay, so I'm going to click on build. I'm going to edit. I'm going to click here on the icon. You can see that when I hover, it goes to edit icon. And I'm going to give it this color. And for the icon, it's a Kanban board for recruiting. So I can go with this icon here. So it's reflecting here on the side menu as well. And I'm going to create a filter. So I'm going to click on search filter. I'm going to call this custom filter. It's only an internal name, so you could name it whatever. It's not going to appear on your screen. So I'm going to create a flexible filter, which is basically a dynamic filter that I can select things on the go.
We have a
And
question here. They are asking what AI are we using here? Here we are using Jestor AI for creating the structures and suggesting fields and so on. But we basically use a blend of all the best models, and basically Jestor just selects the best model for building or for the vision field and so on.
exactly. So I created a flexible filter here, which is basically a filter based on the applications database, and this filter is going to apply to this Kanban board here. So I'm just going to use this one. We could create other fields, more specific filters, so buttons that I can click and see only, like finance applications and so on. But I'm just going to use the flexible filter right now. So I edited the title bar here, and I can pull this filter that I just created down here to the title bar. And there you go. So now I have this search bar. Like if I search for Jane, it's going to bring this application. And also I could filter for just finance applications, for example. So it's down here. Okay, so this Kanban board looks nice already. Now we're going to go to the public form, right? So we have the form here on the side menu. We haven't done much in the way of customizing the appearance, so we're going to do this right now. So let's click here on build. We're going to add an icon here. So for the application, we're going to go with this icon. There you go. So we have it already reflecting on this menu. And we're going to customize here the background to be this light gray, and we're also going to disable
Change the
scrolling.
font also to show people how it works.
Cool. So you can also customize the font of the components. In this case, the form. So you could go with this one, which is kind of like a serif font, or use other kinds of font here as well. Cool. So we're going to edit this and pull the form all the way down. We're going to edit this title bar here. It's going to be white. And now we're going to edit the form itself. So this is going to be the public form that people are going to use to apply to the job openings, right? So I'm going to call this application form, and then I can start by customizing the title and the description here. So for the title, it's going to be submit your application. And for the description, it's going to be fill out the form to submit your application. And you guys can see that as I edit this form, it's going to reflect here in this preview in real time, okay? We could also add logos and cover, which are images. Logo is going to appear here right next to the title. The cover would appear here up top. I'm not going to add images right now, but you also have this option. And this form is going to send a new applicant to the applications database, right? So now we're going to customize this form just like we had customized the update form. So I'm going to create a section. So I'm going to go with your information. But one thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to create there isn't much in terms of information here. We just created some fields. You probably would create more fields than we did right now. But I want to show one specific block here that is useful for application forms, which is pagination, right? So we have this part, name, email, phone. We're going to create inline, so email and phone are not right next to each other. Stage, I'm going to move all the way to the bottom. I will explain why in a minute. Okay, so apply date. I'm not going to use this information. Okay, so resume is going to go down here. So what do I mean by the pagination block? I'm going to click here on add block, and I'm going to use this one, new page. So now if I move this button right before resume, you guys can see that resume is only going to go appear on the next page. So now the person has to provide name, email, phone, and then they can go to resume. But actually, let's leave resume on the first page. And now we're going to let the person select the team, select the job opening, and also we forgot about education and job history. So we're going to provide this information as well. So job opening, education, job history. It's also going to be inline, so they're right next to each other. There you go. So this is the first page of the form. And now we're going to add a new section for job opening. And there you go. So they select the team, then the job opening, it's going to be on the same line. And one last thing that I'm going to do here is that we have the stage. So we want new applications to go to the first stage of the Kanban board, but also we don't want people to select the stage that they're going to. So what we're going to do is select a predefined value for the stage field of triage, but we're going to hide this field from view. So people are not going to be able to see this field, but it's going to go with the value triage. So this is going to make sure that the application goes directly to the first stage of the Kanban board. There you go. One thing that you can do here is you can leave response copies enabled. Basically, what this does is that the person will receive a copy of what they submitted, so they know that you received their application. So once they submit the information, they're going to receive an email saying, "You typed in for name, your name, email. This is the email. This is the phone number." So they're going to receive a copy of the information they provided. We could also edit the success message. So basically, when they submit the form, we can provide a custom text, and also we can redirect them to a different page, right? So you could have something like, once they apply for a job opening, you can redirect them to your website or something like that. So there are a couple of options here, but we're going to leave it as is. I'm just mentioning this for so you guys know that this is an option, right? So I'm just going to customize the colors here, and I'm going to get an image for a cover because this is going to be a public form, and I think it's interesting to have a cover here, so you guys can see what this means. So I'm just going to get a stock photo here in a second. So there you go. Found a nice looking one. Just going to copy this, and I'm going to go here to cover and logo, and I'm going to provide a cover here. So you guys can see that I'm uploading an image here. And this image is going to go all the way up to the top of the form, right? So we just have to wait for the image to upload. There you go. And I'm going to click on save. So this is the form, right? Now the person can go here and go with cruise. So this is my email. This is my phone number, education. I can just type in whatever. We could change here, so some fields are required. I'm not going to do this just because it makes it a little bit harder to test during the live stream. And when they provide all the information, they can go to the next page and select the team. And this is going to change the job openings that are available to them, right? There you go. So one thing that I said before is that this is going to be a public form. It's not a public form yet. So what I have to do here is click on build to activate building mode. And I have to click here on public app. And now I have to share this publicly. And this is going to give me two things, right? One is the link for the form. I'm going to open it so you guys can see how it looks like. But the other thing that it's going to give me is a code for embedding the form on my website, on a portal or something like that, on my own app, for example. So we also provide the code for embedding here. So this is the public form. We could customize other things regarding to appearance, right? And for example, we can remove Jestor's logo here. So you guys can see that we have the style here, right? So we don't want this one here, for example. So we can remove the Jestor brand. We're going to save.
Title bar in this case as well.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to remove this because it doesn't make sense having a title bar on a public form. So I'm just going to refresh my screen here, but I can already go to my Kanban board there, and here you go. This is the form, so it looks nice. And this is the public page, so I don't have to be logged in to use this. And it's just like we customized it before, right? Let's go to the Kanban board. I'm going to change the name to recruiting board. There you go. And the last part that we're going to customize here is the dashboard. So I'm not going to create a lot of components. I'm just going to show you guys some of the components here. So we can go to the dashboard, same deal here. We're going to customize the icon, then customize the colors for the back. For the color, we're going to use this blue. For the icon, we're going to use this one. It's a nice chart icon for the dashboard, so it looks a little bit nicer here. We're going to now start customizing. So we're going to customize the color. It's going to be the same light gray that we used before. We're going to disable scrolling. And now we're going to change here the title bar, and we're going to create create a button here to create a new application. And one thing that I want to show you guys is that I don't have to customize the same form over and over and over again. I've already customized the form, so we can import the form that we already customize. So I selected the page which contains the form, and I'm going to get the same form here. And there you go. So you guys can see that it's basically the same form that we just customized, right? So now what we're going to do, the AI already built some useful components here. So what I'm going to do is just edit. So we have a total of candidates. So this might be a useful information. I'm just going to change the color here and make it a little bit smaller. There you go. So it's going to be down here. We could also, for example, create an indicator for the success rate, like number of hired applicants by the total number of applicants, right? So I'm going to create a complex, which is basically, we call it complex indicator. You can also think of this as a composite indicator. It's basically a relationship between two numbers. So we're going to create this one, and we're going to create an indicator which is basically going to be number of hired applicants divided by total number of applicants here. So I'm going to call this success rate. I'm going to select the operation, so it's going to be a ratio, one number divided by another number. The first number, the number on top, is going to be the number of applicants, but I'm going to add a filter here because it's just for the applicants which are hired. And then down here, I'm going to do the same thing, but then I'm not going to use a filter, right? And a background color again. There you go. One thing that I forgot to do is say that this is a percentage, right? So I'm going to click here on save. There you go. So this is the indicator, right? So okay. So we have this pie chart here. So just to show you guys other components, we have charts. We could also create, for example, a calendar to show the next interviews. So I'm going to call this interviews. It's going to get information from applications, and it's going to monitor interview dates, right? So there you go. And the last thing that I'm going to do here is just create a custom filter here so you guys can see how it works. I have already created a custom filter on the Kanban board, but I'm going to create one here as well. So it's the search filter component. I'm going to call this custom filter. And one filter that I'm going to do here is for interview date. And the type of filter that I'm going to use is date range. So I'm going to select, for example, I want to see all the interviews next week. I can select this dynamically and it's going to filter the components. So once I select a date range, it's going to filter candidates, total candidates. It's this indicator here. And for example, it's also going to filter the calendar by interview date. So we could keep adding different kinds of filters here. We have filters for users, for checkboxes, for texts, a lot of different kinds of types. The idea here is that you look at the ones that would make sense for you and you add them here. So I'm going to create this filter, and just like I did, we could leave it hanging here, right? But just like we did with the other one, we're going to pull the filter here to the top of the title bar. There you go. So now you can see that I can select, for example, I only want to see interviews for next week. I don't have any, so yeah, there you go. It's 0, right? But you can filter this information dynamically, right? And if I go back to the app, there you go. Everything is just like I set up, and now all I have to do here is basically what's missing here is editing, so it looks a little bit nicer, right? For example, I can change the color here. So we're going to keep the unity of the colors. There you go. And we can rearrange stuff so it's the same size. And the idea here is to keep like editing so this dashboard looks, eventually it won't look so chaotic here. So the idea is that you customize the appearance as well. But that's the general idea. But like, do you have any other thing that you want to show people here?
No, I think that's great. It's a great example to show how you could manage your a part of your HR department. And we are going to also make this available as a template if you want to install in your account. And if you have any other questions, just comment on this video. And next week, we'll be back with another video building using AI and no code here at Jestor. Thank you.
Thank you.